what do we mean by perfect competition? A definition of perfect competition could be the condition under which all market participants are price takers. In other words, all buyers and sellers have to accept the price as determined by market forces. None of us can set the price. We're all price takers, not price makers. Certain conditions need to be in place before we can say perfect competition exists. First, there must be many buyers and sellers for a specific product. No one buyer or seller must be able to influence or dictate the selling price. Secondly, the product that we're looking at must be homogeneous, which means that the product that's sold by all sellers is the same, so it doesn't matter from which seller the consumers buy it from. All buyers and sellers must also have complete and correct knowledge about the marketplace. So, for example, buyers must know what the market price is and will therefore not buy from any seller that's more expensive. Buyers and sellers must not be able to enter into agreements with each other that could influence the market. In other words, there must be no collusion. The market must be unregulated. In other words, there must be no government intervention. For example, there are no labour laws that prevent a firm from firing staff if it's making a loss. And lastly, but also importantly, there must be freedom of entry and exit.
Now, if you put those together, you find out that these firms are price takers. This means they have to take the price that's set by the market. So they have no control over the price. It'll make more sense if I show it to you in graphs. What we have right here is the market for milk. You learned this before. It's got demand and supply, and it sets an equilibrium at $10. So this is the industry graph, or the market graph, that includes all the different firms that produce milk. Right here is the graph for one individual firm. And since they're price takers, the demand for this firm is horizontal. It's perfectly elastic. Again, this is because they have no control over the price. If they raise the price up to 11, then no one's going to go to them. They'll go to all the other dairy farmers. And there's no reason for them to lower the price below 10 because people are going to buy as many units as they sell at $10. This horizontal demand curve is the demand, but it's also equal to the marginal revenue. The marginal revenue is the additional revenue that the firm gets when they sell another unit. So if they sell another crate for $10, their additional revenue is $10. They sell another crate for another $10, additional revenue $10. So the demand equals the marginal revenue. It also equals the average revenue and the price. And your teacher will probably tell you this is sometimes called Mr. Dart. That's something I do in my classes. Anytime I say the word Mr. Dart, the students have to go. This is the horizontal demand curve, which equals the marginal revenue curve, Mr. Dart. The point is the demand and the marginal revenue are horizontal for the firm. Now, if we take some cost curves and put it on here, we can actually figure out how many units this firm should produce, and we can calculate profit. So let's zoom in on the firm. Notice we have a marginal cost curve and an ATC. The first question is to figure out how many units they should produce. Well, that brings up the most important concept in all of microeconomics, which is the profit maximizing rule. All firms should produce where MR equals MC. This is basically saying that you should always produce as long as the marginal revenue is greater than the marginal cost. At the point where they're equal, you should stop producing, and that's the profit maximizing quantity. If you produce when the marginal cost is greater than the marginal revenue, you're going to make less profit than before. This firm's going to produce where MR hits MC, which is right there at 10 units. They don't want to stop at 4 units because they can still produce more profit. And they don't want to produce 11 units because the additional cost is greater than the additional revenue of selling that unit. This is why you spent so much time learning about all the cost curves. You put them together with the revenue curves, and now you can figure out how many units should the firm produce, what's their total revenue, their total cost, and how much is the profit. In this case, they're selling 10 units for $10 each, so that big box right there is total revenue. Now, is that all profit? No, because some of it is cost. To calculate the total cost, you have to find the average total cost of each unit, which is right there, $6. 6 times 10 is 60. So that box right there is the total cost. So total revenue of 100 minus 60 total cost gives you $40 profit. That box is right there. So this individual firm is maximizing profit where MR equals MC, and they're making an economic profit of $40 or $4 per unit. So this right here is a firm in a perfectly competitive industry. And that's the graph that you're gonna have to draw and analyze to do well on your test. So make sure you feel comfortable drawing these side-by-side graphs, the market and the firm, with the firm showing profit or showing a loss or breaking even and being in long-run equilibrium. Another thing you have to be able to do, other than just draw the graph, is use a chart to calculate how much profit is being made.
The next step is what happens in the long run. The long run is when it has time for firms to enter or leave. And in perfect competition, it's very easy for firms to enter, right? We said this is an avocado producer. So it's not that hard for other firms to start producing avocados, right? Before, maybe they had a few avocado trees and they just weren't watering them. There's some producers that weren't watering them because there wasn't much money in it. But now, right, you can see there's some profit in it or something, and then now something's going to change. So you're going to see that current right now, the profit is right here. Current profit being made. The question is what happens in the long run. Okay? Well, first step is firms are going to enter. And the reason why firms enter, again, is to make profit, right? A farmer's like, I'm not going to produce peaches, or I'm not going to produce something else. Now I'm going to start producing avocados again. When that happens, the supply curve, because more firms enter, is going to shift to the right. Supply shifts to the right, looks just like that, and that drives down the market price. And let's call that market price 7. Market price is 7. Good. And that's going to increase the quantities. Well, this firm can't keep charging $10 because the market price had fallen down to 7. So you can see they have to take this new price, which we're going to put right here, and label as D. Take a look. Just right there is the concept. Now, they're not going to produce 10 units anymore, as you can see, because now the point where MR and MC is different. They're going to produce now here. So we're going to call that 8. All right? So far, so good? Good. That went down, and now, if you can see, now we're at long-run equilibrium. How do I know? Well, let's get rid of that old demand curve. That thing's gone. Let's get rid of that old quantity. Because just by looking at it now, you think, oh, I see why. Right? There's no economic profit. There's no reason for firms to enter. There's no reason for firms to leave. Firms are going to stay just right there. No economic profit being made. Done. Till next time.